Hi, I wanted to talk about a point of light. There's a writer here, her name is Ofra Banjo, and she's researching women and women in Judaism, their role in Jewish practice. And she reacts to research, shows that Regina Eunice, who lived in Berlin at the beginning of the 20th century, was the first woman in the history of the people of Israel who was ordained as a rabbi. And she says there's a mistake. There's a woman who did that in the 17th century in the East. Osnat Barazani, 15. She was born the year 1590 and died 1670. Was a daughter of a rabbi, a famous rabbi, Barazani. They worked in Mosul, in Kurdistan, but they come from Barazan. This was mainly Jews and Christians, afterwards also Muslim Kurdish people, and famous leaders. The Kurdish and the Jews, the Kurdish of Iraq and the Jews had a very symbiotic relationship, a friendly relationship. Osnat was the daughter of Rabbi Shmuel Barazani, but he started many yeshiva religious study places in Kurdistan, and was known as was really respected as being a scholar. He didn't have any sons, and Osnat was his only daughter. So he decided to overcome the social discrimination and exposed his daughter to learning Torah from an early age. He taught her everything, including Talmud, Kabbalah. She was very intelligent and able to learn. And then he matchmade her to his pupil. And he actually said when he married her, she should not work in domestic work and only study Torah. Interesting. She was very known as very good and very talented in Torah interpretation as well. After her husband died, she became the first woman in history of the Jewish people in modern and pre-modern time that stood at the head of a yeshiva that only men studied there. She was well known for Kurdistan, and many people consulted her. She was also a miracle worker and writing musical piyutim. She's a source of pride for Kurdistan's Jews and also for non-Jews. And questions arise. How come society that looks conservative was willing to have a woman such a high place as a rabbi, sort of semi-rabbi, and can we do the same in Israel today? But, however, contrary to the image, the Kurdish society as a whole was very typical and being very tolerant. This is a picture of Kurdish fighters against ISIS. They're very tolerant, especially amongst Muslim societies, Turkish and Iranians. The Kurdish society is very tolerant towards women. And they can be involved. There are many women leaders in the Kurdish women leaders in society, politics, and religion as well. One of them is Sultan Khanjara, who was also at the time of Osnat Barazani, at her time in Arbil today. And they have been documents that she stood at the head of an army of 50,000 fighters spreading into Iran. And according to the local law, a leader can also transfer the leadership to women. That's very special. In the beginning of the 19th century, Mastura Ardilan was a poet, philosopher, historian, and she was very busy in education. Adala Khanum was in the leadership of Jaf and Khalbaja in the end of the 19th century. She was leading in courts of law. Ma'an Khatun, the head of the Khijaridit, the first half of the 20th century. We could see that Osnat Barazani is not different than a lot of Kurdish women, non-Jews also, that received a high status, thanks to the fact that society's shown tolerance. Women has shown were elite social status and could be leaders. And also they got encouraged to that. Today, Kurdish women have undergone a social-political revolution, also in Turkey and Syria, and are playing important roles in fighting and leadership of parties, political parties, and fighting ISIS. The question is if Israeli society and the religious establishment in Israel are ready to give a place to a new spiritual, religious women leader who's a revolutionary figure like Osnat Barazani. At the moment, unfortunately, the answer is no. Peace and love.